tell them. Never mind. Don't go to Junior Nordic. Terrible.
All right, you are recording, board members.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. A meeting of the Municipality of Anchorage Board of Ethics is hereby called to order. Madam Chair or Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Wint Pearson.
Here.
Ms. Powelson.
Here.
Mr. Goodstein.
Here.
Understand Mr. Kelly and Ms. Wilson will both be here, but will be a little late joining you. You have a quorum.
Perfect. Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
I should look at it. I move to approve the agenda.
A second.
Perfect. Any objection to approval of the agenda? Hi, Joan, as drafted. All right, hearing none, the agenda is approved. All right. Would you like to the board like to take a moment and review the minutes of the previous meeting before making a motion regarding approval?
Sure.
And then once you've taken a moment, I'll entertain a motion regarding the minutes.
Do we have two sets of minutes?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
May 18th and May 26th, the special meeting and the regular meeting in May.
Right. Yeah, I'm saving.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to pass the agenda. Is that what we're doing right now?
No, you need to approve the minutes.
Approve. Thank you. Approve the agenda.
The minutes.
Minutes.
Oh shoot. Oh, I move to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion before we move to a vote?
No, not from me.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the regular board meeting of May 18th and the special meeting of May 26th as drafted, say aye.
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 All right, those are approved. On to the consent agenda. And we have one disclosure of economic interest in a municipal contract or business by a public servant to consider. I actually had a question about this one before we approved it, which I wondered, Jennifer, maybe you could answer. The way I read this form, it sounds as though the disclosure, as though Mr. Hamels, it looks like he's saying that he's a member of the assembly, but that doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe I don't think I'm misreading the form. It seems like maybe he's just misfilled it out. I was trying to figure out who he actually is and whether we thus care about his role working with BDS architects. I feel like maybe he's not provided the key information about what his new municipal role is.
Madam Chair, I do not know what Mr. Hamels' role is, but I do know that he is not a member of the Anchorage Assembly.
I don't know. Yeah, that's because I was just looking at the board member thing where usually the parties who disclose indicate that they're, on the Planning and Zoning Commission or something like that.
I can do a quick search of our records and see if I can figure out which board he's on, if that would be helpful.
Either way, it's wrong, right? Like,
yeah, I think we should probably send it back to him to be redrafted. Could we transmit it back to Mr. Hamels and just ask that he correct it? Because we want the record to be correct substantively, the form to be correct, so we as well.
Yeah, I think he probably thought he was a board member appointed by the municipal authority. That's what he.
Yes. Yes, Madam Chair, I think you could do that through motion or through direction to the clerk.
Let's do a motion just so we have it documented in the minutes. Anyone like to make a motion regarding Mr. Hamels' disclosure?
I move that we director asked Mr. Hamel to update his disclosure form regarding what board or entity he's a member of, so we can make a final determination.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
That's a
I
very
hear no,
wordy motion. I apologize.
I hear no objection to this because I had 2 seconds from both of the other board members. So I think we can safely conclude that this is approved, and we should have Mr. Hamels resubmit his disclosure form. And that takes us to the end of the consent agenda. So then we are on to unfinished business, ethics complaint for potential violation 2021-12. And I think, did we, Madam Clerk, did we receive it? Did I see that we just received a draft for that opinion moments before the meeting?
Yes, Madam Chair. Vice Chair Pallison submitted what I believe is a partial
Yes.
draft because Mr. Abram or Mr. Goodstein is doing the other half.
Which I'm sorry, I had 2 deaths this last month, so I couldn't get to
Sorry
it.
about that.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay. Well, what's the will of the body? Should we move into deliberative session to consider Ms. Pallison's portion of the opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Do I have a motion to move into deliberative session to do that?
I move, we move, go ahead. Go ahead.
Don't want to steal your thunder. Okay, I move that we go into deliberative session.
Second.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, let's move into deliberative session to discuss ethics complaint for potential violation 2021-12.
We don't have to call a new number. We just get moved.
Right.
No.
All right, Madam Chair, you are in open session, and it looks like you're going to be joined by your 5th board member.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do I have a motion regarding next steps on ethics complaint for potential violation? Oh gosh, I just lost it. 2022-2021-12. Anyone for motion?
What?
Can I make it?
Yeah.
I move that we continue moving in the direction of the draft discussed in deliberative session with the final decisions to be addressed in public later.
Do I hear a second?
Second, sorry.
So just to clarify, Aisha, will you come back with a revision in our next board meeting?
Correct. And Abram, I think we will have a draft opinion for the board to review at the next meeting.
A cohesive draft for in July.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, all those in favor of that course of action, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Oh,
was it
Terry?
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah. Okay.
I just arrived, so I'll abstain for now.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to document that for the record. All right, thank you. And that concludes our discussion of unfinished business. Now on to new business. So new business item A is something that Jennifer and Megan and I have a quick prep meeting before every ethics board meeting just to talk about, get ourselves set for the meeting. And one of the things we had chatted a bit about is the fact that we have as a board relied on legacy advice from our council about moving between executive and deliberative session and which matters are considered in executive and which matters are considered in deliberative session. And that advice to a large extent derives from code that is no longer current. It's from the previous ethics code. And so I am concerned that as we start to get more complaints for potential violation that are political in nature and potentially something that might be controversial, I just want to make sure that we have very clear documented advice from the Department of Law, Municipal Department of Law on those dividing lines and what they're based on. I mean, the code has a bunch of different layers where it incorporates the Robert's rules by reference. So maybe we're reliant on that, but I would just really like to have that documented clearly so that if there's ever any controversy about why we discussed a certain matter in a deliberative session that's not recorded, we have very clear advice to point to. And I wanted to ask this board if you agreed, and if the whole board, if you all agreed, and if we could then make a motion to issue that request so that the request formally comes from the entire board and is then again documented as the formal request of the Board of Ethics, as opposed to like me just asking for the board, for the Department of Law to do it. So with that, any discussion or emotion, I wanted to open that question.
I'm confused. What are we requesting exactly?
We're requesting an opinion from the Municipal Department of Law on what we should be doing in executive session, what we should be doing in deliberative session, and what the legal grounds for that distinction is.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like we rely right now on the old code of ethics that's no longer in municipal code. The current municipal code does not contain direction for the Board of Ethics regarding executive session and deliberative session. And it's somewhat fuzzy on whether it contains any direction for us because we're not explicitly a Title IV commission because we're an assembly commission. We're also not the assembly, which has a separate Title II section under municipal code regarding executive. This is like, well, I like overly wonky on this because I had to deal with it when I was a municipal attorney, but I feel like there's some flexibility in the code about exactly which provisions regarding the grounds for and documentation of these non-public sessions, what applies to us. And then we always default back to the Open Meetings Act, which doesn't contain any mention of deliberative sessions specifically. But again, so I would just really like it to be clear. And, you know, when talking with Jennifer and Megan, we all had some of the same questions about making sure we were 100% on the same page regarding when we should be toggling and what our legal grounds are for those distinctions. I see nodding heads, so it seems like
That
folks
makes
agree.
total sense to me, and I'm happy
Agree.
to be part of a motion to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
Excellent. Anyone want to make a motion?
I move that we request legal advice from the Municipal Department of Law. Do you mean municipal or the state?
The municipal, because it's a municipal issue under municipal
yeah.
code. Yeah.
On the distinction between deliberative and executive privilege and any guidance that can provide us on when we should do so.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Hearing no opposition. Excellent. We will submit that request, Megan, formally by virtue of this motion here to you and the Department of Law. So everyone knows also the Department of Law internal workings, like once they draft an opinion, there is an internal municipal opinions bank too. So the other virtue of this is like, we'll get a draft opinion that will live forever in the municipal opinions bank. And so we can always go back to it and say, wait, why did we think that was deliberative? And we'll have a
Very helpful.
Did we just create a lot of work for Megan? I mean, we didn't have your timeline, but.
Yeah, this is Megan. What I was going to say is we have like an internal sort of form that the Department of Law uses. It's called a request for legal services. So I'll just talk with my supervisor about, officially like submitting, that request on behalf of the board, by virtue of this motion, and sort of find out, like, I don't even know if I would be assigned to, I might be assigned to work on the memo, but there's also other attorneys in this office that probably have more knowledge about like Open Meetings Act and, public records requests and whatnot. So there might be other attorneys here that would be better versed, in that type of research. But I think it's good to get like a formal opinion, from our office about this instead of just sort of relying on, my own little like private memo to the board that would not necessarily have the same legal effect. So it's just sort of a more formal process for, formally requesting a formal legal opinion from our office, which, we've all discussed. I think that would be a good thing in this situation.
Great.
okay. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, no problem.
Is Blair the deputy right now?
Yes, she is. And yes. And yes, I hesitate to say more, but yes, she'll be more will be coming on that front as well.
Okay. Exciting. All right. On to new business B, ethics complaint for potential violation 2022-2. In this instance, I think the topic for discussion is whether or not we will accept. We've not yet accepted this complaint for a review investigation, so that needs to be the decision point today. And I believe we should move into deliberative session to discuss the complaint and whether or not we would like to accept it. Do I hear a motion to move into deliberative session? Or I guess, yeah, we need a motion to move into deliberative session.
I move we move into deliberative session.
You have a second?
Second.
Any opposition? All right, with that, Madam Clerk, we move into deliberative session to discuss ethics complaint for potential violation 2022-2. We lost Terry, Joan, while you were away.
Okay.
It's hard to keep everyone together.
Longer than expected.
You are recording an open session.
Okay, let's wait till, I guess we have enough for quorum on this vote. I guess while we're waiting, I want to put on the record that board member Wilson was recused from the conversation regarding ethics complaint for potential violation 2022-2 and did not participate in that discussion. Now
Can
that
I
we are,
mention that I voluntarily did that and
Yes,
brought
voluntarily.
potential. Okay, thank you. It's not like he kicked me out, but well, you would have, but I declared a potential conflict.
Okay, so
do you want to make a motion, Aisha or Abram, about what we're going to do?
sure. I move that we accept potential violation 2022 dash, sorry, I just lost it, dash 2 for, we accept it for investigation and review, and we will be inviting a few people to our next board meeting for discussion about that complaint.
Second.
And just to clarify, we'll invite the complainant, the subject of the complaint, and potentially also the relevant law enforcement official mentioned in the complaint, provided that Ms. Carmichael is able to ascertain who that was. And with that, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, seeing no opposition, Terry has not returned. Oh, there's Terry.
And just for my purposes, what information would the board like me to share with the respondent? And or should we contact the complainants, about permission to waive?
Oh yeah,
confidentiality?
let's do what we've done in the past, which like in the most recent iterations here, which is acts at requesting of the complainant what version of the complainant would be willing to have shared, because we do need to provide some version of the complaint in order to allow for an adequate response from the respondent.
Do we want to request that the complainant waive confidentiality first and then?
Yeah, and if they say no, then we'll probably do what I would say let's do what we did with Girdwood and remove identifying details.
Okay.
Madam Chair, would it be appropriate to allow Mr. Kelly to vote on that motion?
Oh yes, Mr. Kelly, would you like to vote? We had a motion to accept ethics complaint for potential violation 2022-2 for investigation, and to invite the witnesses we discussed, the complainant, the respondent, and the potential law enforcement official referenced to our July meeting. All the rest of us voted in favor. In case you're
I'm in favor of that motion. Yes.
Okay. All right. So then we'll move on to ethics complaint for potential violation 2022-3. For this matter, there is an item related that I'd like to address in executive session before we move into deliberative session or disclosure. I'd like to have made an executive session. So I'd like to entertain a motion to move us into executive session, where we'll still be recorded, but recorded separately.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any opposition? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, will you please move us into executive session?
Madam Chair, you're in open session.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do I have a motion for the record regarding ethics complaint for potential violation 2022-3?
I move that we decline this complaint for lack of, even under the best circumstances, taking all matter, what's in it as true, fails to state an ethics violation.
Second.
All right, and just to state for the record that we've directed Mr. Kelly to pull together a draft for review by the board in the next meeting, declining on the grounds outlined by Ms. Wilson. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Hi.
All right, hearing no opposition, we will move forward accordingly. Any comments from the members before we adjourn?
One question, the board, the agenda says our next meeting is July 20th. Is it actually July 22nd? That's the Wednesday.
Fair question. Let's see.
I think July 20th is a Wednesday.
Oh, I thought I just looked. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
No, you're right. It is July 20th is a Wednesday.
Oh, what did I put in my calendar? I got all confused. Maybe I was in the wrong.
June 22nd is
Oh,
Wednesday.
that's what it was. I didn't go forward. Thank you.
And
I'm glad
just-
we clarified that.
And just to follow up on a comment that Becky made about the administrative hearing officer, the municipality does have a administrative hearing officer. He has not been involved in these meetings, but under the code, he can be. And so, we can make him aware of these and invite him to participate in the next meetings if that's something that the board's interested in.
I mean, it probably just depends on the allocation of resources as within the Department of Law, but I think it's helpful for us if the resources permit for us to have a second legal resource. Probably
Yeah,
up to you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think that his caseload is fairly low. So yeah, I think he would welcome, some more participation.
Who's the new municipal hearing officer?
His name is Paul Urvasti, or I can't remember his last name, but he's only been here for a few months. But he came from, I believe, he's got some experience in military stuff, I believe. Urvasti, Paul Urvasti.
Yeah, I'm assuming the answer to this question is no, but does any of our work ever go to that person for review? It must not.
No.
Yeah, okay, so. that
Yeah,
makes
there's
sense.
no appeal rights to the administrative hearing office.
They hear like,
Yeah,
well, a variety of things.
okay.
Dog catchers.
Dog
kind of
bites,
like-
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Chicken clucking. There was an excessive noise complaint about chickens. That was a notable recent opinion from the administrative hearing officer.
Chickens are annoying.
Well, they cluck for more than the allotted 5 minutes that an animal is allowed to make continuous noise pursuant to municipal code. Anyhow.
And they lay eggs. I mean, it's, wow. Okay.
Yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
The chicken owner says,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you all.
See you guys
Bye,
next month.
everyone.
I will
See you
have
next
that.
month.
It's not
Thank
on the
you.
agenda, but I should have something